Your expected approach time 3-4, approach button 17, the altimeter 2997.
Welcome back to the DCS Situation Report, everyone. I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog. Thanks for tuning in again to another episode where we are just days away from a brand new module being introduced. ED announced a progress report on dynamic weather for the core engine, and the F-16 gets a really big bomb. Let's start with the Viper, where coming soon it will be able to carry the Mark 84 Air. Now, this 2,000-pound general-purpose bomb is fitted with a BSU 50U tail assembly balut that provides high-speed, low-altitude delivery. The high drag of the bomb allows the aircraft to avoid the blast pattern. This can be an excellent choice to destroy runways, enemy unit concentrations, and high-value targets that require a low-altitude attack. You may select to deliver the bomb in either low drag or high drag mode based on the mission requirements. There will of course be an inert training version as well. Now, if you're wondering what a balut is, it's a combination of a balloon and a parachute, and in this case it's made of a low porosity nylon fabric. If the pilot selects the low drag option, ports will open up to inject air into the structure, which inflates, of course, and this reduces the speed of the bomb's fall. Naturally, it can be used against a range of targets as described, where presumably there is low threat from surface-to-air anti-aircraft systems such as SAMs and anti-aircraft guns. Now, this should provide some big bada boom for those low-level missions where a surface target simply must be destroyed. So good luck with that when it comes out.
And latest friendly base into upwind.
Altitude.
Now, speaking of anti-aircraft things, ED is also adding another ground asset in the form of an anti-aircraft cannon known as the KS-19. It's a Russian artillery piece, and a lot of you have been asking about bolstering ground assets with the release of the Apache. Now, this is an older weapon, so not so much a thing that the Apache would come across typically. It was originally deployed aboard ships in the Second World War. The towed version was named the KS-19, and it's a heavy caliber anti-aircraft cannon, which also had some surprisingly good utility in the ground attack role against heavily armored targets as well. So look out for this Soviet 100mm cannon coming in the next open beta patch, which should be next week. Now, they also go on to add, compared to the 23 and 57mm anti-aircraft artillery guns, the KS-19 allows engagement of targets at even higher altitudes. When combined, the three types of AAA provide a layered air defense umbrella. Now, as described by ED, this is essentially a naval gun that was modified for anti-air roles in the late 1940s. It can actually fire to a height of around 15 kilometers, but is also, as mentioned by ED, able to be deployed against some ground targets. Now, as described by ED, this is essentially a naval gun modified for anti-air roles and can fire to a height of around 15 kilometers, but as mentioned, also can be deployed against some ground targets. What they would typically do is up to 6 of the weapons would be slaved to a fire direction system for that anti-air role, and while several countries use them, including Egypt, my understanding is that they are no longer a frontline weapon, obviously in part because of the effectiveness of modern SAM systems. Moving to the weather portion of this week's newsletter, and I mentioned a few weeks back discussion on fast-jet performance with Tim Davies and also ED's business development manager Simon Pearson regarding various ongoing projects for DCS World. One of these was dynamic weather. ED released a short blurb today about weather, indicating they are working on a variety of weather systems enhancements. In the screenshot, which you should be looking at right now, you can see the progress on the ice halo effect. Also, a work in progress is the addition of cirrus clouds and moving clouds that are affected by wind direction and speed, which is very exciting. The next task will be a preset selection window that will allow for rapid weather tuning using the mission editor. Now, cirrus clouds, for those of you who are unfamiliar, are of course those higher wispy clouds that are made of ice crystals and take on an interesting color or three at sunset or sunrise. They're pretty cool looking clouds. ED, I have to say, has done a nice job of generating cloud formations with the static system we have. It was very exciting to get that. Really bolstered the immersion experience that we've had in the game. And of course, also those color hues as part of 2.7, I think are pretty outstanding. So in conjunction with the shadows as well, it really is a delight to fly around, and this will be another immersion aspect post-mission maybe, and maybe later in the day to see some really cool lighting and shadow effects on the journey home. Again, any enhancement to this dynamic weather system and the weather system that we have is only going to embellish those flying experiences. I can't wait to see it in the game, so let me know what your thoughts are there.
Raven 4-2 is blind.
Roger, go radar trail.
Lastly here, of course, we are going to talk about the Mirage F1, which is a brand new module from Airgas. It's only a few days away now. The analog beauty from a bit of a bygone era is going to be a real treat and I think a challenge to fly. And this week they provided us with what I believe is a study level manual in preparation for next week's release. The team have been posting daily pictures as well to whet our appetites, and I'm really excited about its release. It's exciting to see more developers supporting products in DCS world, of course. It has sparked a lot of discussion, with some even suggesting the Cold War aircraft are where it's at in the game right now for PvP hands-on flying. Whether that's true, of course, is a matter of conjecture and, of course, player preference, but certainly it is an interesting era and interesting topic, given the pending release of the Phantom as well, which is another crowd favorite and will slot in nicely to the Cold War era aircraft that we already have. So it's exciting times, and I can understand why the Cold War freaks out there among you are particularly enamored with this aircraft and, of course, that Phantom. So a shorter episode this week, but of course we do have that patch pending for next week, so expect a lot more discussion next week. It was a busy week for me this week. I didn't do a lot of flying. I did finally hit some trails with the new mountain bike and tentatively took it out and tried it out. I had a couple of biffs last night, actually, not paying attention and not really used to the bike and how it handles. So landing it in a thistle patch was not a particularly pleasant experience. And that was really a dumb mistake because I wasn't even doing anything exciting at the time. I was just trying to wrench something out of the front forks that got trapped in there, and I put my weight in the wrong place on the bike and kind of went ass over tea kettle, which was embarrassing. Fortunately, there was no one else to witness that. But so yeah, more bike adventures maybe one of these days. So that'll do it for this episode. Let me know what your thoughts are on today's topics in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe. We are pushing through well over 8,000 subscribers. I'm aiming for 10 by the end of the year, maybe a little ambitious, but I really appreciate all the support thus far, especially from those of you who are giving me the super thanks support. That's very, very helpful. Does help the channel chug along, of course, and just eases the amount of time or justification for the time that I'm putting in from Mrs. Prickly Hedgehog, who wonders where my sanity is sometimes, but I love this game and I believe in the product. I'm looking forward to seeing, like I said, all these new aircraft in the game this year, so stay tuned for more of that. I appreciate that support. We'll see you next time.
Look at those fjords. If it wasn't for the freezing waters and the harsh weather, I'd almost say this is the end of the world.